All right, so Chris came up with something truly hilarious that I need to show you all, and I'll give you some examples for list stuff too. So here I have a sample. Wait, what is this line doing? Sample equals. Hi, my name is Steve, and if I fix a little formatting here, it'll make sense grammatically. So I have here, right, this string, hi, my name is Steve, with appropriate punctuation stored into the variable sample. If I run this piece of Python code, what do I expect it to do in the little window? Nothing.
Oh, no, we didn't do print.
Okay, because I didn't do print. So the funny thing was, Chris was trying to print, and Chris was like, hey, I know, I'm going to try to print sample, but first, I'm going to typecast it to a list. Because why wouldn't you?
You need another parenthesis.
Oh, and I need another parenthesis. Okay, so this is going to typecast the string sample into a list and then print the whole thing. Right, so this made a string into an array of characters. Right? And then, so, hang on. So, let me just add some stuff. So, let me show you some stuff about lists. So, I'm going to call this sample list, right? And I'm going to keep that typecasting of sample into a list. Okay, so
list is list of sample.
Yeah, so sample list, right, is sample thought of as a list, and the way I get sample to be thought of as a list is I typecast sample into a list. Is all with that? Yeah. Okay, so if I then ask this to print out sample list, I should get the same result, right? Boom. Stuff. Hi, my name is Steve, as a list. Right? Yeah, so let me show you guys how to randomize some stuff just for kicks. So if you want to randomize stuff, you need the random library. So first things first, you have to import random. And what this is, right, is a whole list of commands about random stuff, right? Python doesn't have a lot of random stuff built in, but it does have this built-in library that you can ask for random stuff. Okay? So if you want to do something like, say, shuffle my sample list, right? I might do shuffled is sample list dot shuffle. Like maybe that's a thing. And then I'd really like to print shuffled, right? You guys all kind of with me? I'm just guessing at syntax right now. List object has no attribute shuffle. Crap. So if I go like, all right, Python 3 list functions. Like, what are the functions I can do to a list? Apparently, I can append things. That one's familiar, right? Like, I had append as a command in processing, right? What does append do?
Sticks on the end.
Yeah, just stick stuff on the end. So if I go back into Repel, if I wanted to just add a exclamation point to the end of this, right? I could comment out my attempt at shuffling and be like, all right, I'm going to take sample list dot append and throw an exclamation point in there. Because yeah, and I'd like to get rid of the period first. All right, so let me go look in here. Remove the last item, or remove the first item from the list whose value is equal to X. Or we could pop the last item, right? Either of those would work. I only have one period in my list, so I could just do, all right, I'm going to take my sample list, right? And I'm going to do dot remove. And the thing I want to remove is a period, right? And then I want to append an exclamation point and print out my sample list again. See if that works. Oops. Doesn't like the remove period. Period's not a thing, but so why did that need to happen?
I think he was looking for like an index instead of the actual thing.
It was looking for a slot that literally had a period in it, right? And my list has pretty clearly got quotes around each item, right? I just remembered from the previous time I printed this out that they all had single quotes around them. I was like, oh, maybe I need to put the single quotes in to get it out of there. Yeah, see that? Okay, so let me see. How do I get... Oh yeah, I was looking for shuffle originally, right? Sort? What?
Does not compute.
Why does it say none? It was supposed to have stuff in it.
Not anymore. It's sorted.
So there's some weirdness here, guys. Should be noted that a couple of these commands have a return type, and the return type is not, like, the thing it returns is none,
Oh.
but it does it in place. So you want to sort the sample list, right? And then you want to print it. So there's my sample list sorted, and it goes, that looks like empty space, empty space, empty space, empty space, exclamation point, comma, HS, AEEIIMMNSTVY. Well, that part makes sense.
I guess it does capital letters first.
Yeah, so apparently it sorts the capital letters first. I don't know why it chose to sort the punctuation before that. Yeah, probably this just converts characters to ASCII values and then sorts the ASCII values, right? Does that make sense? Like, it's got to be sorting somehow. And ASCII table is probably the go-to for sorting characters. If I wanted to do shuffle, I still, in my list, I don't have a shuffle function. You all see that? Like, there's remove, there's insert. Oh, dude, I would have killed for an insert command in processing. Why? Because it lets you put something in an array in a specific spot.
Wait, so it pushes everything past that?
Yeah, so it pushes everything out one more space, makes a new space, and then puts something in there.
Branch of ended in the processor. Yeah, Python. Oh my god.
Okay, so that's an option, but I still can't shuffle. So I'm like, all right, Python 3 shuffle.
Oh, random.
Random? Okay. Okay. Looks like if I do random.shuffle to stuff. You guys see that? So in here, I'm like, all right, I want to try to shuffle this. So I'm going to do shuffled, and I need random.shuffle to sample list. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to print out shuffled. And I'm going to comment out my sorting thing because that's just going to confuse the day here. You guys all with me? Is this gonna work? No. None. Dude, what?
It's just shuffle sample list.
It's just shuffle sample list?
Oh, wait, no, it's hold on.
Shuffle's not defined.
It's wrong.
Isn't
It should be from random import shuffle.
Okay, so please note, you can either grab a whole library full of commands, in which case you do, all right, I'm going to import the whole random library, and then when I call one of the commands out of the random library, I need random.shuffle. You need to tell it where that command lives. Otherwise, you can do from random import shuffle. And then you won't have to use the random dot.
So from the random library, import the shuffle.
Yeah, from the random library, import the shuffle command. Really, it's the shuffle function. It's still returning none, though. Like, what is the...
That's just all turns.
Yeah, because that's exactly what it returns. It's a...
Oh.
Right, it's a function. It's got a return, and the return is none. Where does the thing actually shuffle?
Shuffles. It's shuffling sample list.
Yeah, it's shuffling sample list, and sample list is now shuffled. So if I want to actually see it, right,
Man.
I want print, and the thing I want to print is sample list. Right, and so there's a shuffled version of my sample list. And then it kicked none again because I told it to print shuffled still. You guys see that? So I don't really need that shuffled thing. I could just be like, all right, shuffle the sample list, and then we'll print that thing. You guys with me? Further thing here, if you want to get all the commands from a library, you can import star. So that's the wildcard character. So that's importing all the commands from the random library. There are a lot of commands in the random library. This is the random library.
So listen, what?
So there's like 30 or 40 commands in here, right? Functions.
Is there a downside to having all those commands?
Process.
Yes, there can be a downside to having all those commands in there, which is that if you do this with a couple different libraries and they have this, there's a function that's named in both of them. Like the function random, right? From the random library has a random function. It's someplace in here. There's rand range, there's rand, where the heck is it? Random.random. Right, so there is a random function in the random library. If you go find another library, like say Chris's wildcard library, that has a random function in it, if you import both, it won't know what thing to do when you say the word random. Right, when you try to call the random function, it'll be like, what random? What are you talking about? I have 2 of those. It'll probably yell at you when you try to import the second thing. Right? But yeah, there's a downside. Cool? Does that make sense? Usually I import the minimum of what I need. So if I'm looking for the shuffle method, I'll do from random import shuffle. Or I'll do import random and then call it with random.shuffle. Does that make sense? You guys a little